Over 80 arrested in NYC as anti-ICE demonstrations boil over. On the evening of June 10, 2025, Lower Manhattan became the epicenter of a fierce standoff between immigrant rights advocates and law enforcement authorities. What began as a peaceful protest against immigration and customs enforcement, IC, quickly escalated into one of the most disruptive demonstrations in New York City this year. With over 80 arrests reported, the clash raises urgent questions about immigration enforcement, civil liberties, and the balance between Protestant and public order in America's largest city. The protest, voices of resistance. Thousands gathered in Foley Square to demand the dismantling of ICE operations across New York and the U.S. Their message was clear: abolish ICE, stop the raids, and no more deportations. Sparked by a recent surge in ICE raids, many targeting long-term undocumented residents, activists, and community leaders took to the streets in defense of immigrant families. This wasn't an isolated incident. From Los Angeles to Chicago, a wave of similar protests swept across major U.S. cities in what is being described as a national reckoning on immigration enforcement under the current administration. The turning point: protest meets force. As night fell, tension intensified. Protesters blocked intersections, marched toward Federal Plaza, and reportedly threw objects at officers when asked to disperse. The NYPD declared the gathering unlawful and deployed pepper spray to control crowds. Footage circulating online shows officers making aggressive arrests, slamming individuals to the ground and forming human barricades. More than 80 people were arrested, mostly on charges of disorderly conduct and unlawful assembly. While city officials defended the arrests as necessary for public safety, critics argue they represent a growing intolerance for dissent in a democratic society. The political dimension. The protest drew prominent voices, including Councilwoman Shahana Hanif, who called the police response disproportionate and aggressive, and public advocate Jumaine Williams, who demanded accountability from Mayor Eric Adams and ICE officials. The mayor, meanwhile, defended law enforcement's handling of the protest. "We will not allow violence or lawlessness to take hold in our city. Peaceful protest is welcome. Anarchy is not." Such statements underscore the widening rift between civil society groups and government authorities over how dissent should be managed, especially when it involves marginalized populations. The bigger picture: immigration in 2025. This protest didn't erupt in a vacuum. It comes amid growing discontent with federal immigration policies, particularly the revival of mass deportation operations, expanded detention centers, and what many call militarized immigration policing. ICE has faced mounting criticism for targeting immigrants with deep roots in the U.S., people with families, jobs, and community ties. Many are victims of failed reform promises and a broken system where legal pathways are scarce and backlogs unmanageable. New York, a self-declared sanctuary city, finds itself torn between federal mandates and local values. This contradiction fuels unrest and puts immigrant communities in constant fear, despite official policies meant to protect them. What it means: protest as a barometer of democracy. The events in New York raise a deeper question. What happens when peaceful protest is no longer protected? Civil rights advocates worry that the arrests signal an erosion of the constitutional right to free assembly, especially when protesters are from historically oppressed or marginalized groups. If the state's response to protest is escalating force, it begs reflection on the health of American democracy in 2025. Where we go from here. For activists, the movement appears far from over. Organizers are calling for renewed action, legal defense funds, and broader coalitions across cities. For officials, public trust is eroding. Calls for independent investigations into NYPD conduct during the protest are gaining traction. For citizens, the debate over immigration is no longer just about borders. It's about identity, humanity, and the very soul of the nation. Closing thought. If standing up for human dignity results in handcuffs, what does that say about the state of freedom in America? As the dust settles in Foley Square, one truth remains. The fight for immigrant justice is not just a policy issue. It is a defining test of America's conscience.